things you could be doing right now to optimize your scores, so that next year when it comes time to buy, you're going to save thousands upon thousands. I mean, even if you get your score up from, let's say someone has a 719, if you can just get to 720, you save money. And here's the baffling one. Not only do you save money, we all know that you save money on interest rate, right? That's simple. But most people don't realize that you also save money on your mortgage insurance factor.
Howdy, friends, and welcome to the Allen Fairview Insider, the podcast where we dive deep into the heart of our community. I'm your host, Super Dave Quinn with Day One Experts, and I'm here to help bring you the latest and greatest from Allen and Fairview. From insightful interviews with our local leaders to exclusive updates on community events and developments, the Allen Fairview Insider is your go-to source for staying connected and informed. So whether you're at home or at work or on the move, let's get started and make the most of our time together.
Hi there, my name is Joe Boggs, and I'm with Highlands Residential Mortgage. And today I have with me Tanya Walker with the Walker Group Real Estate. So how are you doing today, Tanya?
I'm great. Thank you, Joe. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. I am very blessed that I get to talk to Tanya on a regular basis because we have a ton of mutual clients. And so not only are we good friends, it's nice to be able to work with your friend on a day in, day out basis. And so I couldn't tell you how many transactions that together we have solved issues for these folks and putting them into a house. But I can say, and I'm sure you can relate, that it never gets old, does it?
No, it's good to be able to be friends and to trust so that I can call you whatever hour it is.
You bet. It takes a team, doesn't it?
It does.
And so we're also very blessed with the expansion of our team. You know, it's not just her and I. It's also, we've got insurance folks that get involved, and that's been really, really important as of the last year when insurance are going crazy, right? I mean, everything from having to reel in maybe a credit consultant. You know, if someone will give us enough time, we can go ahead and get them with that, get them working on it so that when they're ready, 6 months, 8 months down the road, they're in better shape. Our escrow people, I mean, we count on them. And then, of course, our own team that helps us with the day-to-day work. They really do the heavy lifting and make us look good. So, but
we need that.
Yep. But it does take a team, and most people don't know that. And, you know, through the years, I can tell you my operations manager has been with me for 23 years. I wouldn't want to do this without her. And so it's, those folks that do the heavy lifting don't get all the rewards. You and I get to show up to closing and go, oh, look what y'all did.
But there's a lot of work that goes on in between. And I think that's sometimes, you know, a lot of people, I know for myself, before I got into the industry, I didn't know what took place and what all the procedures that everybody does have, if the impact on. So I think it's important to also relay that it isn't just open up a door, give you a file, run the credit, and then it's done. It's not. There's a lot that happens within those. Typically on a typical closing 30-day, there's a lot that takes place for each individual file and loan.
Yep. With time comes wisdom, doesn't it? It takes some failures. Thank goodness most of those should be behind us now.
With kind of like a wedding, you know, you hope that the guests don't see all the craziness that's going on behind. Yep. And everything is good for the bride and groom. And that's kind of how it is for our clients. We want it to always be good for them, that they don't see all the chaotic stuff that goes on in the back end, but we're running around like little chickens with our heads.
We've just learned to disguise it a little bit better. And, you know, it's funny. It never gets old seeing, you know, maybe folks that don't have that much experience. They've only been doing this for 4 or 5 years or whatever. It's so funny to see them because we have really good competitor friends as well. You know, it's just kind of a smaller area that we operate in, even though there's a lot of us. There's enough business for everybody. So we have a lot of competitor friends, but I still so enjoy it with these folks that don't have 100 transactions or whatever under their belt, to watch them kind of flail. I just smile before I help them out. I just smile first, pet them.
Well, a lot of times people go to other people that don't have it together, where I've been very fortunate to know you for quite a number of years. And it was the same thing until we got together. You know, you don't, other teams are not as strong.
Well oiled.
Right. And with yours, it makes a big difference to have the longevity with your teammates.
We dance together pretty well, don't we?
We do.
You know, and it's funny because we also reel in a lot of different teammates in this. So generally when I'm doing the financing side of things, I like to ask someone, people call and some people want to put down no money. Some people want to put down hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I always love to ask them, hey, have you talked to your financial planner about this? Mm-hmm. Number one, if they don't know me very well, it takes it away from, just my opinion. I want to bring in someone who you already have a relationship with that you know and trust, and let's get their opinion. They can double check my work. It seems to take some of the anxiety out of it. Mm-hmm. But, people call quite a bit that say, hey, I want to put $300,000 down. I get their financial planner involved, and they're like, no, we don't want to do that right now. Yeah. You're at this tax bracket, and we need to show that you got to have some expenses, mm-hmm. And then we'll bring in a CPA from a tax side, a financial planner from their investment side. And then you've got an entire team working for every individual customer. And this isn't just for our folks that are buying $1 million houses. In fact, the most common answer I get when I ask if your financial planner or CPA has been involved, they say, I don't have one. Mm-hmm. That's great, but let's get one.
Time.
Yeah. So you and I give our resources out freely to people. Correct. Here's who I've been using for 10 years. Mm-hmm. And yes, you may not make a gob of money right now. But I can tell you, like the ones that we work with, their minimum investment is like $500. Mm-hmm. You got to get started somehow, whether it's just
straight out of college, some of them.
Right.
And it's so beneficial for them to set that platform.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it's very important for them and for us to be a good resource and have the quality people that we have to provide to them.
Yeah. And we're so entrenched in the community that we are held accountable by our actions. And so we've vetted the people we surround ourselves with, a team. So it's great that people can call you or I, and we get calls for, hey, do you know a good painter?
Oh,
and not only have you been in the real estate business for a long time, but you're the chair of the Allen Fairview Chamber. Mm-hmm. And so the strength there comes that a painter cannot run the risk to treat one of our clients poorly, mm-hmm. because not only will they lose the client's business, but now they're going to lose your business and make a bad name for themselves mm-hmm. in the chamber. You can't do that and survive.
And I've been very fortunate. I can say I've not had a bad experience with our folks that we've referred out, mm-hmm. And many that are on my team that I have been with for anywhere between 6 to 13 years.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
It's consistent.
You're making good decisions and surrounding yourself with good people.
Yeah.
And that's all that really matters in the end. And that's how you build a good team. And so one of the things we cover with a financial planner, and this one was kind of interesting recently, was I was talking to a client and I said, hey, no one can tell you exactly what the appreciation on a home is, but we can probably all say in the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years. I rember in 2021, it was 21% in Collin County. Now that's an anomaly.
I was going to say that's not
typical. That may not ever happen again. That was a one-time deal, just like when rates were, had a 2 in front of them or a 3 in front of them. That will likely never happen again. But, if you look at rates over an average of the most recent 40 years, 6 to 7% that's normal. And that's where we are now. And I think people are getting comfortable with that. But when I was talking with them, I had their financial planner on the phone, and he was saying, if I buy a $500,000 house, and it goes up 5%, that's $25,000. So what percent of return is that compared to my financial planner? And I go, wait. Mm-hmm. I said, you're using the wrong math. An investment is defined as taking some sum of financial investment in anticipation of a return. Did you put $500,000 into that investment? And he said, no. I said, you brought to closing $25,000. You put 5% down. So you need to do the math based off of you put down $25,000, and 12 months later, your house was worth $25,000 more than you paid for it. That is a 100% rate of return. Mm-hmm. And so I asked the financial planner, I said, do you disagree that buying a home should be your number one investment? He said, I don't disagree at all, Joe. He said, in fact, you already have to have a place to live. And if you look at what your mortgage payment's going to be compared to what rent would be, that's a wash. So if you just took $25,000, put it into the market, and now you've got something that's worth $25,000 more, yes, you just made a 100% rate of return, and there's nothing I have that I can match that with. Mm-hmm. So that was a light bulb that went off for the client. They were like, wow. I go, yeah, good luck finding that. Even though I'm sure your financial planner is awesome, they're not going to find a 100% rate of return. And then that return just keeps going because you're not putting ever 25,000 into it
next year.
Yeah, you just it keeps growing. So yeah, I don't think anybody can disagree, especially in Collin County, that real estate is the number one investment there is.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we've seen such a great turnover with respect with what people purchase the homes at, even within 1 year.
Yeah.
I have clients that I work a lot with corporate relocations. And so they're in for 1 to 2 years on many bases. And then we've turned around and sold them and they've come out very well.
You bet. I love like when we do move up buyers. So when people are buying their first house, they're looking at, a house that's really kind of tough for them to qualify for. And then we have those conversations like, hey, yeah, you may qualify for $6,000 a month, but do you want that payment? And then they end up, and we're talking with them, they'll end up saying, you know what, maybe I should buy a $400,000 house now that 3 or 4 years from now, I can either sell it, have the equity put down and buy a bigger house, or even better, convert it to an investment property. Now I've got that income and someone else paying it and become a landlord. And, having one property like that is really simple. Now you start multiplying. I'm sure that you would want to get like a property manager involved to help them, but one is not bad at all.
Yeah. And it's not for everyone, but the key piece that you're saying right there is that you took the time to talk to them about, do you want to go deep, spending it all on one home, maxing out, or do we go smart and safe? And I think that's one of the big key pieces that I enjoy working with you is that neither one of us want to put a client into a situation that is makes it a hardship for them, but also to help them to think outside of the box of maybe what they're not thinking futuristically wise. But it's always about making sure the client has the best. Yeah. The best interest of the client.
I had this exact same conversation with my son last night. He and his wife, so they're 24. They got married in November, and they came over and they wanted to have a talk with me. And now they're ready for the next step, right? And so I think their lease they said it's up in June. I actually encouraged them to wait until December, just because they just moved back here from Lubbock and want to make sure they pick the right neighborhood. But we had this conversation, and he had his eyes on a $500,000 house, and I said, "Son, really? I mean, I'm not sure that you want to do that." And the same thing, maybe this is a stepping stone house. Maybe you go up further north where you can find a 350 and maybe 3 to 5 years from now, that becomes an investment property. And he said, "Is that how you got started?" I said, "That's exactly how I got started." And so we don't just have these conversations with our clients. We have them with our family too.
Right.
So yeah. And then I always get asked, it was funny. He was showing me houses. Here's the house we already looked at. And I said, "Son, have I taught you nothing? Always get with your lender in advance." Right?
Exactly.
I mean, the favorite thing that I ever get is when someone says, "Hey, we want to buy a house next year." I love that. Yeah. Because now what we do is we pull a soft pull credit report. Doesn't cost you anything, doesn't hurt you in any way, shape, or form. And then I connect it to those cool tools that will analyze and show you things you could be doing right now to optimize your scores. Right. So that next year, when it comes time to buy, you're going to save thousands upon thousands. I mean, even if you get your score up from, let's say someone has a 719, if you can just get to 720, you save money. And here's the baffling one. Not only do you save money, we all know that you save money on interest rate, right? That's simple. But most people don't realize that you also save money on your mortgage insurance factor. And so you couple those things together and then add insurance discounts for having higher scores. And it is a massive amount of money. In fact, I wish I could show this, but I have a class that I teach. And here's the comparison. I'll pull this chart up so I can read directly from it. So here's a comparison where we compared someone with a 620 score to the 740. 760 is as good as it gets. You're just kind of bragging after that. So you get discounts all the way up to a 760. But in this scenario, a 5% down payment buying a $500,000 house, the rate, of course, is higher for a 620. The mortgage insurance rate is significantly higher. It's the biggest difference. And then homeowners insurance. I had one of our homeowners providers give me ballparks on this. The amazing thing is that with a same sales price, $500,000, putting 5% down. Look at the payment difference between someone with a 620 and 740. It's $1,244 a month just because their score was 740 compared to 620.
Howdy friends, Super Dave Quinn here. Thinking about expanding or relocating your business in Collin County? Come discover Fairview, Texas, a community with a prime location, great tax incentives, and an unbeatable quality of life. But don't just take my word for it. Tune in to the Getting Neighborly podcast to meet your future neighbors and hear why they believe Fairview is the perfect place to grow your business and to build your life. Visit us today at FairviewTexasEDC.com. Thanks. Make it a great day.
Then I said, okay, let's look at it a different way. Let's take another 5% buyer, and they tell me, hey, I've got 5% to put down, and I want a payment no more than $4,500 a month. Same thing for a 620 score borrower. That turns out to be a sales price of where is this at? Taxes, insurance. So they would have the same monthly payment, someone with a 620 score, on a $400,000 house than someone with a 740 score would have on a $526,000 house. That's $126,000 higher sales price, same down payment, same monthly payment. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So love when people get with us early. And then
we do that a lot.
Yes.
We do that a lot with a lot of new home buyers or teachers. I think that's some of the best ways that we can help them,
of course,
to get into the platform that they want to be in or just be comfortable.
Yeah. And to save them a ton of money. I mean, we tell people all the time, hey, this is likely your biggest investment that you'll make in your lifetime, other than the next bigger house that you're going to buy. And so instead of just calling on a Friday night and saying, hey, we found a house, we love it, can we get it? If we do a little bit of investment in advance, it doesn't cost you anything. You have us to your resource. And if they will do it in advance, I mean, look at the difference in payment, $1,244 a month, lower payment because we got someone's score from a 620 to a 740.
Right.
I can't do that on a Friday night.
Right. Well, we can't do anything about the rates.
Mm-hmm.
Rates are what they are.
Yeah.
We just have to pivot and work with that. We do have a little more control over that score.
Yeah.
And so we can kind of help offset, or the individual can help offset that difference in expense.
And this would be the same difference no matter what the rates were. I just used a rate from 6.5 to 8 or whatever. But still, even if it's 9 to 5, whatever the number is, it's $1,244 a month lower.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
that's a huge amount.
And even if you start looking at people who have like a 700, and then if we could just get them up to 720 before it's time, it will save them thousands upon thousands of dollars. And so love it when they get with us early.
But we also work with those that are needing the loan get it done Friday night.
Yep.
So, but
more often than not.
Right. And I kind of chuckle about that because that happens a lot.
Yes.
But the longer amount of time, 3 months, 6 months, year, whatever it is, it does help the individual with that payment if we can help them out.
You bet. And like the pre-thought is this, especially when I have a lot of time to talk to someone, like I'll use me as an example. Our last home that we bought in advance, we weren't even looking for a home. I went out and got a home equity line of credit because I had quite a bit of equity sitting in my house. It didn't cost me anything. And I have this sitting there and it's costing me nothing to get. Well, I wasn't house shopping, but evidently Patsy was. And she found the one. And thank God she did because, I love where we are. But Patsy, listening to me all these years, she said, well, would you qualify for the new house without selling the existing one? And I'm like, yeah. Well, what about you've got that money in the HELOC? I'm like, uh-oh. And so, but thank goodness that she paid attention and we did that because I actually used the home equity line of credit as my down payment and bought my current home without selling my existing home. I just before I got to meet with you today, I got that exact call and he said, I've got the equity in the house, but they won't take a contingent offer. And I've said, well, I wish I would have talked to you a year ago because I'd have told you to go ahead and get the home equity line of credit and you'd have it sitting there waiting and this problem would be solved.
Right.
So those are the conversations I like to have in advance.
Yep.
So how's the market?
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. That's a question that I get asked on a very regular basis. I think the market is good anytime, to be honest. Whether you're buying, selling, right now is a really good time to where you have flexibility to negotiate. where everybody's not, up in arms about overextending or anything else, we can negotiate. So don't be afraid to ask. Sellers are, not in dire straits like that. So we don't want to take advantage of anyone, but ask.
Yeah. Yep. And I wanted to ask you a specific question that a realtor told me last night. And I wanted to verify, because you're the expert, if this is true or not. She told me with some of the new regulations for realtors that you're not even allowed to go open a door and show them a house unless they sign a buyer's rep agreement. Is that a true statement?
That is correct.
That's what I thought. Yeah. And so, and sellers, listing agents, are not wanting to show anybody a home that doesn't already have a pre-qualification letter, right?
Well, that's been a while.
Yeah,
we've been doing
ongoing.
that for a while. But the buyer relationship agreement is just to establish that clarity of commission.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to represent the buyer, and we want to make sure that they understand what that role means.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure that they understand how the compensation is paid, so that there's no. But I've been doing that for many, many years. So that wasn't anything new. Some folks, it's been a little new.
Yeah.
To get the rep agreement.
I've seen
what
that.
has been new is the fact that me as my listing, I can no longer show that listing without the buyer getting the signed agreement.
Right.
They may not want to work with me as a buyer rep, and that's okay, because I'll just do it for that one moment of meeting.
Yeah. You can just outline it for this house, 123 Fun Street, and then if they
that one day, that one meeting,
then it could be good for that one day, and the next day they can move on.
And I've sold several that way.
That's really good to know, because you could see how consumers could say, "Wait a minute, I'm not ready to sign something." But if it's only for one house or one day or whatever, that should alleviate any stress or anxiety.
And not had any trouble with it at all. We, just make it very clear. And that's all they want, is just to be clear about it.
Yeah.
Know what's going on, and not make it weird when you're trying to do it.
Exactly.
To talk about it.
Well, and let's be real transparent. I mean, if you're going to go try to meet with someone who's listing a home, a listing agent can't truly represent the seller and the buyer, correct?
Well, I do not. That is intermediary, and I do not do that. We do work together within our own company with each other, which is also intermediary. However, there are agents that will propose to work both sides. That's not efficient.
Then let me ask you,
and that's my own personal opinion, because I kind of allude to kind of go back to in the legal world when you're working on a case, and was my background. So you're either a plaintiff or a defendant, and typically the attorney doesn't work with both parties for a reason.
Right.
And I look at it the same way. I need to work for my client in the best interest of
you
them.
bet. Let me ask it a different way then. So I'm going to put you in a corner. If a realtor was going to represent both the buyer and the seller, don't they have to place priority on one? The fiduciary, wouldn't it be towards their original agreement with the listing agent? No,
you're neutral.
Are you neutral? Okay. Neutral. All right. But if you're going to go buy a house and there's the sellers are represented by a realtor, would it then be your advice that they should have their own representation that costs the same amount?
Who?
The buyers.
The buyer should always have a
period.
Yeah.
Yep.
Always.
And so, these are the things
you don't save any money.
Right.
You don't. It's to your benefit.
That's the exact point I was looking to make there.
To your benefit to have a representative that has your best interest in taking care of you. Again, it's not just about opening up a door. There's a lot that goes along with that when opening up that door.
What about new construction? Can a buyer benefit by not bringing a realtor with them to go buy new construction?
I don't recommend it. I have been very successful for many years working with new construction for my clients. And I can tell you some really neat stories that I've learned through my clients, through their communities. Once they got in and moved in and everything, they've had their neighbors come over and tell them hellacious stories. And they're like, well, that didn't happen to us. Because I'm with them from the day that we signed to the day that we close, forever and ever and ever. Some of them they don't have that hand holding or information that they need to be aware of when watching new construction. And I do watch our new construction.
And I can add to that. I know for a fact that the builder has already put in real estate commissions into the sales price of the house. So if you're
not
going
getting anything for free,
right. So if you're going to pay for it anyway in the sales price of the house, my recommendation would be to have your own professional representation, period.
Correct.
So
correct.
All right. Well, I even though we've been doing this a long time, I learned something every time you and I powwow. And so those were a couple of hard questions that I just had to get answers. I mean, you and I are, we're not loan officer real estate 101. So I've always got to ask you 303 questions. But I always enjoy spending time with you. It increases my knowledge. And, Tanya's available, pretty much day, night, almost anytime. And so why don't you provide your contact information?
I'd be happy to. Thank you, Joe. And I feel the same way. Even though it's a podcast, I feel like that this is our normal get together.
This is a Thursday for us, isn't it?
Yeah, we talk about what we can do for our clients. Again, my name is Tanya Walker. I'm with the Walker Group at Caldwell Banker Apex, and my phone number is 469-207-8658. You can also find me on Facebook, Instagram, and all of the others. But I'd be more than happy to serve any of you any way I can.
And we're both located right here in Allen. In fact, we're the only national mortgage company that's headquartered right here in Allen, Texas. And so, again, I'm Joe Boggs with Highlands Residential Mortgage. You guys can call my cell, 972-578-2300. Again, 972-578-2300, or catch us online. We shouldn't be that hard to find. Until next time, thanks for joining in.
Make it a great day. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Allen Fairview Insider, the official podcast of the Allen Fairview Chamber of Commerce. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found the insights valuable. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you'll never miss an episode. Like and share this episode with your friends and family to help spread the word about our great communities. We appreciate your support and are excited to bring you more engaging content. I'm your host, Super Dave Quinn, thanking you on behalf of the Allen Fairview Chamber of Commerce for listening and reminding you to stay involved, stay informed, and keep making Allen and Fairview the best place to live in Texas.